Okay, I'm going to quickly make this video because, well, I think it's interesting and, well, what other reason do I need, really? So, just to recap then, on my first video I showed that there were 999 weeks, as you can see here, between the 11th of September 2001 and 9/11, and the American election, which took place on Tuesday 3rd of November 2020, exactly 999 weeks between the two events. You can see that there. Alright, and then on my second video, just to recap quickly, I showed that there were some strange mirror image kind of things happening between the solar eclipses that happened in 2001, and there you can see them listed there, 21st of June 2001, 14th of December 2001. And the eclipses that happened this year on June, the same two dates in fact, so you can see that, but the June 21st is the annular, 14th of December is the total solar eclipse. It's in 2020. The reverse is true of the ones that happened in 2001. So I'll refer to my notes for a minute. So we had these two solar eclipses that happened. Now I've looked a bit further into this, and this works on a 19-year cycle. So if you go back to 1983, you'll find that these fall on pretty much the same dates. And if you go forward to 2039, you'll find the same thing happens. So it's a 19-year cycle. Why is that interesting? Well, because 19 years is the length of a metatonic moon cycle. And if you look into it, you'll find that all the times that you get the solar eclipse. And what's interesting about this, of course, is that the solar eclipse fell on the summer solstice date there, okay, which is quite unusual. So, and of course this year we had the winter conjunction on the 21st of December, which is the winter solstice, the shortest day. We had the Saturn-Jupiter conjunction, which is quite interesting. So we had a celestial event that fell on the summer solstice and one that fell on the winter solstice. Alright, so far so good. So that's pretty much what I said in my first two videos. Now, why is this interesting? Well, because let's have a look here. So Millennium 2001, in fact. When did the 21st century start? Why is 2001 and not 2000 the start of the third millennium? Many people think that the third millennium and the 21st century started in the year 2000. This is a popular misconception. The millennium formally started on the 1st of January 2001. Okay, so the millennium formally started in the year of 9/11. Now, why is this interesting? Well, because if you look at the Coptic calendar, which is one of the oldest calendars, goes back to ancient Egypt, you'll see that September, the month of September, that's the start of their new year. Their 9/11 is when the Coptic New Year starts, and then this year it's the 1st of Thout, 1737. So, if 2001 actually equals 2000, if you see what I mean, then 9/11/2001 is the first day of the Coptic New Millennium. Now, the American election, as we saw earlier, this strange 999 weeks between the two events, is due to be decided by the Electoral College on the 6th of January. Now that's quite fascinating as well, because the 6th of January is what is known as Old Christmas Day. or it was, I should say, to be accurate. So we have 19 years between 2001, 2020, have the COVID-19 obviously, the 9/11 event ties in, but so the 6th of January, as I say, is Old Coptic, is the Coptic Christmas Day, but this year it's actually, I believe it's the 7th of January, so it's one day out, but pretty close. And of course, the Coptic calendar consists of 13 months, 12 months of 30 days each, and 1 month of either 5 or 6 days, which is quite interesting because that kind of relates to the old Roman and Saturnic calendar, where you had the period of Saturnalia and the Lord of Misrule, which is also reflected in the in the European Middle Ages with their Lord of Misrule, the boy bishops, the abbot of Unreason in Scotland. All these traditions obviously reflected the Coptic calendar because they had this strange period sort of between the years where, you know, the world was turned upside down, so to speak. And of course, so the 6th of January is, or was, the Coptic Christmas Day, and the 6th of January is when the Electoral College is due to announce the final pronouncement on the American election. There's also further tie-in with the moon calendar is a calendar of 13 months of 28 days and 1 day outside of time. Now I'll probably do another video on that actually, because I want to keep this one short, and I'll just finish it off by showing you this. So there you can see the XY axis, as it were, and can you see how the Shiro sign is a monogram, first 2 letters in Greek of Christos Christ. Now this one here, you can see it quite clearly because you've got your horizontal line there. That relates to CERN and what they built at CERN, but I won't go into that at this point. Do you see how Chiro and Cairo share a very similar root? So I just thought I'd finish with that because we've got all these strange astrological or celestial correlations that have happened within these 2 years, or on the 19-year metatonic moon cycle. I'm not sure if I mentioned it. It falls on year 10 of the metatonic moon cycle. All these years: 1982, 2001, 1963, 2001, 2020, and 2039. They all follow that pattern. All right, well, I'll leave it there for the minute. I doubt anyone's really interested, but it's it ties in. Why it's interesting is because it ties in the moon cycles with the solar cycles, and you can see there's a correlation between the two, which I think is quite fascinating in its own right. But you can also see that they tie into these quite momentous events that seem to happen on this planet. And just to go a little bit further into the moon connection, the UK election was called on the 12th of the 12th of 2019, which just happened to fall on the last full moon of the decade. And in Wuhan, in the following year, in early 2020, we had the plague start, so to speak, or the supposed COVID outbreak, just corresponding with the Chinese Year of the Rat, and of course rats were very famous in mythology and historically for spreading plague, although that factually might be incorrect. But there you have it. So a lot of symbolism going on there with the Tories, their election that happened on the 12th. Why did they call it on such a strange day? And the fascinating thing about that too is that they made it so that the results were announced on Friday the 13th, which in Western tradition obviously is an unlucky day for most of us anyway, or supposedly, traditionally. A very odd thing to do. Then we of course the Chinese also go by a lunar calendar, and so their New Year's Eve, I think the January the 15th, or no, January the 25th, so a complete solar month after our Christmas Day. But very interesting that the Tories should choose to call the election on the 12th of the 12th, and how that ties in with the 21-12 as well. Alright, okay, I'm beginning to lose me track, so I'll leave it there.